Are you ready to get spooky once again? Today, Kart Chaser has coverage of the final day of the season. For a busy campaign we've seen for MCC Cincinnati, it's the Pro-Am Karting Championship, it's Kart-A-Ween, and it's the Sunday Championship Deciders. I'm Justin Prince, alongside me is Taylor Burris for today's coverage as we count down to green for the start of our qualifying coverage here from Batavia, Ohio. Today's going to be an interesting day to see which drivers are able to come away with championships, which drivers come away with the final wins, and who can finish things out strong with momentum, Taylor. Quite simply, these drivers are getting ready for what should be an exciting day to close out the races here in the Cincinnati area.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone, as we get set for some great racing here today. We saw some exciting action yesterday as part of the Kart weekend, and now we're going to wrap it on bow on it and send it off to get ready for 2026 after today. The drivers have already clinched championships. A couple, though, still looking to try to see if they have a title here today. And I gotta say, this class right here that we're looking at, the 206 Masters, is one of those classes we're going to be keeping an eye on. Of course, Derek Hastings, one of the top drivers yesterday, came home with a performance, got the pole position yesterday. And then, of course, later on in the 206 Masters pre-final, got the pre-final win. Later on, when we came on to the finals in 206 Masters, well, win, he came home P2, but he had to deal with Matthew Lida as well. So can Derek Hastings go through 3 race events today in Cup? We'll find out. What about Alan Elwood? He's going to be another driver who's looking to try and clinch the title here today. But they both have to go through Matthew Lida.
Yes, indeed. And to emphasize how that points difference is coming into today for this class as they get ready for qualifying. That points difference. Pardon me, is right now for drivers 154 points here today. Matthew Lida had 290 points yesterday overall. Elwood 250. Derek Hastings picked up 280. His speed showcased on track. So once again, these drivers, remember, are going to be utilizing the Legacy circuit like yesterday. That means no snail portion, as you described it. That area where you can go for sends, especially down the long straightaway out of turn 11. You have basically the 2 passing opportunities today. Once again, turns 4 and 7 might get a drag race down coming down the front straightaway. But it's going to be important. We've seen all day yesterday, track position, track position, track position. In many cases, Taylor, people who started at the front stayed up front. People who started in the back had a hard time making up ground in about 80% of the races.
They certainly did, Justin, and that's going to be so critical of how this qualifying and the pre-final will be for each and every single one of these drivers out here today. We know for a fact drivers like Elwood, Hastings, as well as also Matthew Lida are going to be strong qualifiers, but what about some of those other drivers in amongst the field? Remember, even though we're talking about the championship, there's other drivers who maybe want to make improvements compared to last season to try to improve upon that. And some of them want to make sure that they are ready to be able to learn and adapt for this final race and get ready for the new season in 2026. As they come across the line for the first time, it's Alan Elwood setting fast time with a 54.69. It's going to change, though, here pretty quickly once we get closer to the end of this qualifying session. Christopher Iannello moving up to P2.
Iannello looking pretty solid here. Iannello yesterday in the Australian Pursuit race had a lot of fight in him, to say the very least. But today, starting off strong with the session. Just about 2/10 off the pace of Elwood. More importantly, though, Derek Hastings starting off slow to begin things in this session. Matthew Lida also in that same circumstance. Elwood, keeping an eye on here. We'll see if he's able to do much here today in that 5 machine. Again, around for a long time, a two-time karting champion, trying to make it three-time to add to that Twitter banner by the end of today. Keeps the pole time up. It's 3/10 now. Derek Hastings got to 4th. Matthew Lyda hasn't gotten anywhere. He is still down in the 8th position, but is coming across the stripe right now as we take a look at drivers like Matt Geist. Geist, for reference, in 3rd. Surprisingly, wasn't able to get himself in the lead pack yesterday, Geist. We've seen Matt Geist be really quick at some of the racetracks in the region this year.
Really has been a kind of impressive run right now that he's got going on for him at about half a second. Maybe he found a little something extra there in the yesterday's races to kind of make adjustments, get himself ready for the feature races of today. With a minute and a half to go, though, let's see if anything changes, especially for championship leader Matthew Lyda. Elwood does not improve, still holds pole position by just about under a tenth of a second over Chris Gorman. Derek Hastings still holding on to P3. He's about 3/10 of a second back as we wait for Lyda, who just came across the line. He has not made any improvement. He is, just as I say that, goes to the 3rd position, 2/10 behind with a 52.86.
So less than a minute to work with on the clock here. At this point, Lyda needs to be able to pick up extra 2/10, help himself out. We know how clean air is beneficial. Some of the drivers here, we see Lyda. He's actually feeding draft to some of the competitors right now in particular, but you know that he's able to find his way through passes. Looks like some issues for one driver. Believe stopped on the side there was Matt Geist. Going to be an extra time around here. Lyda with the timing, just going to be able to get at least a 5th lap in. Next time around by 13 seconds. He is up to 2nd. Elwood, last time by the stripe though, did put up a 52 flat.
That pole speed might be enough to save him as they come around, but we see here Lyda has already made it across the start-finish line, so this lap is their final lap around. And your championship 3 are lined up 1, 2, 3 here in the closing laps here at the qualifying session for 206 Masters. As we watch them work their way through, Elwood crosses the line of 52.024. Hastings across the line with a 52.131. What about Lyda? He's coming out of the final corner here. This time by, can he improve and take the pole position away? Let's find out. Down the front straightaway for the final time. Is he going to come down? Yes, he will. He does not come down and complete another lap.
So Lyda comes on down pit road, but is not able to get himself up ahead. It's Elwood and Hastings, followed by Lyda, Swift, Iannello, Gorman, Overbeck, Davis, Geist, Doty, and Simonowick. So that closes our first group, but our second group is about to quickly get ready to come on the racetrack, and this is the 206 Juniors. For those who missed yesterday, Tegan Snyder had some moments in his races that seen him shuffled around the racetrack. In particular, in that race, Tegan Snyder ended up finishing in the 3rd spot, 3 seconds back of the race leader and winner. Officially on time, Will Wilkie over Adler Klein. That seen Snyder lose ground to Adler Klein, but still has a points lead of about 93 coming into today. For Snyder, as long as he has himself a solid run, gets himself around top 5, top 6 or so, you'd think that Snyder is going to be in the position to get himself a championship. We'll take a commercial break. These drivers are about to hit the racetrack soon. We'll be back after this.
Florida kart racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Karts on the racetrack, and as mentioned, the championship between Snyder and Klein coming into today. Those drivers will look to have the pace down yet again here from MCC Cincinnati. Christopher Taylor Burris with you once again as these drivers now setting their lap times right now. Your thoughts on this championship battle? Snyder yesterday looked pretty solid, but Klein did have speed to contend for race leads, though. It's going to be interesting if that carries over to today and what adjustments these drivers make.
It is going to be interesting, but you also got to remember that there was a little bit of issues and chaos that happened here in the 206 Juniors. If I remember correctly, it was pretty much Tegan Schneider's race to win up until that mistake where Adler and Will Wilkie got up with him and made those passes, which allowed Wilkie to slip on through. So it's all a matter of just how well Tegan can avoid the chaos that ensues around him and make sure he can stay ahead of the competition and clinch the championship. For Adler, Klein, and for Will Wilkie, they need to continue to do what they just did yesterday. Be aggressive, find their way up to the front of the field, and hopefully make sure Tegan has another mistake today.
Yeah, that's going to be the major thing that helps them at this point. Remember, it's going to require a massive mistake potentially in the swing of points in both the heat and or the final to be able to get enough points to close up the championship. Wilkie jumps up to second. Snyder is top of the board right now with about 2 minutes to work with 52.689. Wilkie followed by Randy Harvey. I haven't mentioned Randy Harvey really at all so far in these races. Good start for Harvey here to be up on the top three within 2/10 the pole time. She right now coming off some success earlier in the year with a senior win in the OVKA circuits. Today has picked up the pace, but Klein just picked it up even more up to the top of the board.
Klein with a really good run right now. He has about 1/10 of a second ahead of Homer Heyman, who's another driver who we saw as one driver goes off right there, that being the 24 machine of Gunnar Begoon, who comes off track, joins the circuit, but unfortunately not going to set a good qualifying lap right there as he sets a 56.1. So quite a bit of work for him as Klein maintains pole position for the time being. Schneider, Wilkie are 4th and 5th.
Yep, right now, things getting interesting potentially for some of the drivers who had to battle a little bit here today. Seen some solid battling yesterday, but we'll see if there's any major shakeups here in the final minute or so. Klein did not improve this time. It's actually all over the bumper of the kart in front, and Homer Heyman has been really benefiting from these pushes and working with Klein here in this circumstance. Up towards the front yesterday. When it came to him, finished in 5th position in the final. It's part of the second pack. Snyder Kloecker also was a part of that group. And of course, that family raced a fair bit here. Taylor was one of the families that actually earlier in the year when SCUSA competition came down, sang the national anthem as They'll come around to the final seconds here. We'll see if they try to extend another lap here with 6 seconds on the clock. Klein does improve, but the help of Heyman able to go up to the 51.6s with Reiner Nesbitt holding on to third with the checker flag waving.
Oh, this is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Wilkie and Schneider will not get to run another lap. Tegan Schneider goes up to P3, Wilkie up to P4. Nowhere near close to going for the pole position right here. Schneider ran a 51.86, 2/10 behind your pole sitter of Adler Klein, who is looking to claim pole position here today.
So the drivers now cross the stripe. Will there be any major shuffles? Well, the last people who can set times to improve are your top two, Klein and Heyman, Schneider, Wilkie. Stay up at the top. Nesbitt does take fourth away. Just took it in the live timing by a couple 1,000s. Everybody else stays stationary. Collector of note down in eighth. That's one some of the drivers that was up towards the front yesterday. Change of a day, say the very least. Weather conditions today for those curious here in Batavia, Ohio, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather expect to get as high as 61 by about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Expect to stay partly cloudy, so a little warmer compared to yesterday, Taylor.
Just a tick warmer. You still see everyone out there with their jackets, beanies, and making sure they stay nice and warm before they go out there onto the track, because let's be honest, those race suits, yes, they're meant to help you keep safe out there on the track, but you do get pretty cold when that race suit on.
So our next group is 206 Senior for our qualifying rotations. Speaking of driver suits, be sure to get your Sparco ones today. Sparco. You can find them at shopakr.com. Use the QR code to scan and get yourself a driver suit. Hey, it's a good Halloween costume if you decide to choose. You can dress up as a race car driver. Now, in all seriousness, though, in terms of those looking to dress up as a champion here today, Addison Iannello has the points lead because Braden Heber lost a ton of ground yesterday, Taylor. Because Heber, we mentioned, had a disqualification for his pre-final race, he cannot drop last race. Heber has his drop as a 250. That means Addison Iannello now has the points lead by a gap of about, give or take, 27 points entering today. And Braden Heber had led the point standings for a majority of the way until his final stretch. A big shakeup for Heber with 208 points picked up yesterday to Iannello's 250.
Yeah, in order for this to change and be in Heber's favor, he has to make sure he has, I had to say this, a perfect race. No penalties, no mistakes, and finishes ahead of Addison Iannello to clinch the championship.
Quite simply, he's going to need to win the heat race, absolutely, get the 100 points to be able to help out that case. But then after that, it's all up to how well the 8 improves indeed. By the way, the battle for third in the championship, I should say, Garrett Hagerman has a slim margin as well. That being about 43 points to Gavin Degenhardt. It's a chance to be on the championship podium on the line between the 91X and the 903 today. The field is in the midst of their qualifying here. Heber right now is about 5th in the lineup. Henry Wheeler, remember, is a part of this race again, and we know how fast Wheeler was yesterday. Picked up a destroying pursuit win. In fact, believe he picked up the 206 class. Yes, he did. And that was an exciting race. He also beat Iannello by 1.3 seconds in the very end of the race to be able to come away with a win in one of his few starts this season at this track. So things going to get interesting for the 13 competitors here today in 206 Senior. Ben Lina starts in the 52 ones to begin this session. Braden Heber will once again start off slow. For whatever reason, Heber, I've noticed, fires off a little bit lower down at the start of the sections, but once the tire temperatures build up, usually picks up the tempo in the Blue 8.
Absolutely, Justin, and we're going to see that continue to go forward. We probably will see 51s, mid-51s, possibly for these 206 senior category drivers as they work their way through. I'm really watching this group you see on screen just behind Braden Heber and company as one driver goes off. That's one of the Kart Republic machines. Tough break for them in qualifying. Cold tires really coming into play for them as Henry Wheeler leads this group, or is in this group right here we see on screen as they crest over the hill heading down the front straightaway. And across the line, Ben Lida, 51.06. And let's see if anyone can improve and beat that time. Heber up to 4th. Jordan Klein, a 51.24. She made some improvement there. No one else, though, close enough to challenge Ben Lida, who, for Ben, currently in the championship, sits P6. So, not really in the hunt for a championship, per se. Could, though, break into the top 5 if opportunity allows it.
He's actually the highest out of anybody who's missed more than one round on the season. So he's had speed when he's here. Just hasn't appeared in all the races to be able to contend for the higher up points in the championship. Still less than about 100 seconds to work with. Lida's time does not improve. Brendan Heber, leading his respective pack, needs to improve. He does, but so does everybody else. Heber went to the 9s, but Henry Wheeler again is fast, and we have a spinner. One driver kicked off the racetrack in the grouping with Wheeler and co. Rest of the field's kill keeps on going. We'll see what happens. We do have a incident responsibility that just came over. Gavin Degenhart lost his fastest lap, Taylor, because he just had an incident already in this qualifying session.
Yeah, that is not a good deal for him because Gavin currently is sitting P5 with a 51.03. He just ran his fastest lap, so they're going to have to go to another lap here to see. So hopefully for Degenhart, he can try to improve upon that, so that way they can take his fastest lap and he can still have a decent starting position. But Wheeler still leading the charge in qualifying. Lida and Crouch have made improvement, but are still a significant margin behind your pole sitter of Henry Wheeler.
Yeah, and now we look to see how this closes out on the session here as they rumble. Making their way on through as the clock reaches zeros. Wheeler leading Heber's Paul. Again, Wheeler normally seen usually running in a red suit, going with the blue today. Gets the pole as they stay tucked in. Where will the times go? No change. Braden Heber, 7th in qualifying. Not good for his championship. Henry Wheeler, Ben Lida, Ryan Crouch, Nolan Holiday, Addison Iannello does out-qualify Heber by 2 spots. Jordan Klein, she'll be right in front of Heber with Degenhart, Hagerman, and Kuzuo in the top 10. Davis, Specht, and Gorman. Amongst the rest of the field, those last drivers did swap spots. 3 qualifying sessions complete. A 4th one is now on the docket. For these drivers in Cadet, this championship's already secure here, Taylor, and that's because Drew Snyder did use his drop last race yesterday. Already secured the championship with Hayden Lawson not here yesterday. So Drew Snyder already with both hands on the trophy, but still wants to at least improve upon yesterday, which was his weakest performance in the final of the season.
Absolutely. So I'm curious to see if we can see a good run from Tegan or not from Drew Schneider and company, but that 206 category with Drew Schneider, he's had some good wins and winning in both the heat, pre-final, and finals, but he's also, when it's been like that, it's been a small group of drivers pretty much when he's win. I want to see what he can do in a group of drivers to challenge for victories here today. So that's what I would like to see happen. See if he can work on that racecraft and have a shot of going out with a strong finish to cap off the season.
That'll be the thing to keep an eye on here today. For those watching along, by the way, remember, if you want to follow along with the races later on today and are watching this free coverage currently here on Kart Chaser, be sure to get KC Premium today. $9.99 a month gets you access to all the major races across the country as they happen. Again, be sure to sign up today to watch today's pre-finals and finals. We'll take a break. Coming up, more qualifying. You're watching Kart Chaser.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like $20 a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like $50 a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Go-karts rolling now on the racetrack for the Cadets. Keep an eye on Logan Pollock and Harrison Bell here today. Some of the drivers who popped up yesterday who looked really fast here today. These should be some of your contenders up front. Taylor, we get ready to see where Cadets qualify up on the racetrack here. It's going to be an interesting day for these drivers to see where things shuffle as they come around the racetrack for their qualifying, only a minute off the board.
Absolutely, as we watch them work their way around, there we see some of our competitors getting up to speed. Logan Pollock, I have to say, an impressive drive for him, along with Harrison Bell. Makes me hopefully see them when they come back for next season, what type of a championship battle we'll have in 206 Cadet between those two drivers and Drew Schneider. Colton Hoopsley at Simonellic and the rest of the field coming around as well to start their qualifying attempt. And looking through, I think we have maybe one or two more drivers compared to yesterday from the action in 206 Cadets as we watch Pollock in his Kart Republic work his way around the circuit to start his first opening lap.
We'll try and just see where they settle on down here. First time is about to pop up on the board. Big separation from Pollock. He'll start at 52.8 here. Snyder going to get the pole to second in the 53.2s. Remember, these drivers just after this will have the shifters hit the racetrack for the qualifying session. For those curious on the order today, and it's KA100 Master, Mini and Micro, KA100 Junior, KA100 Pro-Am. How they line up in the order set here today. For the most part, everyone's just trying to work in their own little pockets, their own little world, Taylor. No major close-ups here outside of Snyder getting some draft. It's not like we've seen in seniors where a lot of people tried to work together as a unit.
Yeah, this is a little bit surprising to see. I see Schneider and Bell trying to work together to see if they can set the pace a little bit. Let's see what they do. And just as I say that, here goes Drew Schneider to the top of the leaderboard.
Drew Snyder showing some more improvement compared to yesterday, where the highest he can get in qualifying was about the 4th position. Still has 2 minutes to be able to try and keep that time as high as possible as these tire temperatures pick on up here today. Right now, still getting good suction off the draft. Now, some of the other drivers here today. Colton Hoops right now holding on to 6th. Wyatt Hansbarger, interesting enough, down dead last in the session so far, ran a 59-second qualifying time on the first attempt. But through they come. Drew Steiner to the 51.9s. Top of the board he goes again. Logan Pollock had gone up to the 52.3s on his lonesome. We should be starting to nearly hit that ceiling now on times. You see how Snyder is able to close up a fair bit on the back end of Harrison Bell here. He's really good in this draft right now.
He is absolutely putting on a stellar drive right here in this qualifying session. Curious to see if he can hold that pole position. But with him working with Bell, that's what's going to help them and keep kind of Logan Pollock probably out of contention with the pole position, because they're the only two looking around the circuit that are lined up close enough for utilizing the draft compared to everyone else. Out of the final corner, let's see if they make an improvement on this. Across the line, here comes Pollock. He does not improve. What about Bell and Schneider? They swap it around, and Schneider holds on to pole position with a 51.69.3, just a little under a 0.2 of a second. Here comes Simonellic, Collins, Hoops, and company. Simonellic moving up to P3 with a 52.1. Collins and Hoops improve upon their lap time. So for Logan Pollock, being out there all by his lonesome is not working out in his favor here in this qualifying session. That's trouble for one driver. That was, I believe, Hoops or Collins that looped it around right there. Nope, that was Hoops.
Yeah, Hoops going around. Like we stay in the 6th position here as the checker flag now waves in the session, this time through. So for the most part, qualifying pretty uneventful so far. Drew Snyder stays at the top over Harrison Bell. Logan Pollock stays down in 3rd, along with Oliver Collins, who runs on his lonesome now after that slide. He'll be able to try and pass Lee Simonellic on the board. Well, not quite sure, because they already transitioned to the next grouping of karts for the qualifying session. So, our next group will be shifter karts. And we have 2 separate championships going on with the shifters here today. Pro shifter Doug Duff, looking to close out a championship, has the points lead by more than 200 points with a decent run in the pre-final. Can get the championship over Fred Robertson, who missed an additional round. That would have been much more different if that one race had not been missed in rounds 3 and 4. Nikolai Dukov has slipped down to 3rd in that championship as a result. Meanwhile, junior shifter Nico Katowski is just about in the range to clinch. More pickup going on with the pickup. You're watching Kart Chaser.
Are you looking to take the next step in your racing journey? Well, look no further than PitFit.
With 2 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina and Indianapolis, Indiana, PitFit trains drivers all the way from grassroots level karting to IndyCar and NASCAR with top-of-the-line personalized coaching to improve physical and cognitive fitness.
For more information on programs, check out PitFit on Instagram or Facebook today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Paulie Massimino wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars!
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakracing.com.
Gee, looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tag?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make way. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle.
How the f did you just win?
Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
Kart's just now hitting the racetrack as we continue on with our sessions for qualifying. Shifter and junior shifter now on the racetrack here for this one. Just they were reverse what he's doing here on Kart Chaser. Weekend set to roll. We're all taking their time to get out here, Taylor. Make sure everything is up to speed for them before they go full speed.
Absolutely. Going to warm up the tires a little bit here as they make their way. We'll then knock the gears in and ready to go for qualifying for our juniors and pro shifter categories as they work their way around the circuit. Waiting to see here as the Pegrams are looking to try and come out on top with a victory. Mitchell Lowry looking to sweep the weekend in style after a great run. It's trouble for one driver stuck in the back. You see on screen one of our junior shifters able to get it going, hopefully, and continue on with this qualifying session.
So here we go for our drivers here. All of them taking time to warm up their tires here. Be very patient here before they floor it down the straightaway and go full song. This is the most patient we've really seen a lot of these drivers try and qualify. Make sure they're in the right window or they get fired off. Barry Pegram will be the first of the drivers on the racetrack. Joe Lowry out there next. We have Jeff Ben Lina, Fred Robertson is also out there. Nico Kutowski, Eli Furnish, Robert Lash, Homer Heyman. Amongst those on track as well. Their class, Doug Duff, Kevin Simonella, Tyler Abel, a couple drivers having transponder situations as well on circuit. And remember, when it comes to this class of racing, Taylor, it's an art form, right? to do shifter racing. Some people dream of having the opportunity to at least run shifter at least once and see where they can stack up. It takes a lot of skill to have to work through the gears while also trying to manage the cart.
It really is. And also it's great to see a track like MCC to have this shifter class here. We normally don't see shifter classes in club level races, and we're starting to also not see it happening in regional racing, as one of our regional classes that we do cover, the Texas Sprint Racing Series, is not going to have the shifter class anymore. So MCC, it's great to see that they will continue on with the shifter program because they still have such a big presence with a lot of these drivers here who race even on the national level, like the Pegrams, as Riley gets around Larry here and leads the charge here on this qualifying session. There you see Mitchell Lowry in the back as Riley sets up 43-45. Nico Katowski looking to set a good time in qualifying in the junior shifter category with a 45.56, currently P6 overall.
Yeah, not bad for Nico Katowski to build up a buffer over Furnishing Company. It's been that case all throughout the weekend. At least some of the buffers built up. We have one less cart compared to yesterday in that class, noticed as well, by the way. Yesterday, we also had Ethan Langley, Noah Langley, part of the qualifying session, at least for those being scored on time and scoring. Riley Pegram, top of the board, 41.7. Larry Pegram, 3/10 off the pole time. Mitchell Lowry yesterday, very impressive in those races, by the way. It was Lowry, remember, who picked up the win in that action. Just keep an eye on some of the other drivers as they qualify here. A minute to work with Taylor. There's a look at Lowry just in front of some of these drivers in the pack.
Yeah, you got Jeff and Ben Lida who are running in the GFC carts out there on the circuit. Ben Lida, of course, this is his first time going around with it in the shifter category, and been having a pretty decent run of the season so far with him since joining the shifter class. And looking forward to seeing what he can do next year after making some more adjustments, getting used to going from basically a 206 or a KA into a shifter cart is no easy task to think about. But you will get the hang of it once you continue with your practicing testing. As there we see one of the Maranello carts going around right there on screen, holding up a little bit of Riley and Larry Pegram in this qualifying session. Trying to see who that is right there on screen. The 64 of Abel, Tyler Abel, in that Maranello cart.
Couple more seconds to go in the session. Changes going on. Lowry looking to improve. He does by a few 1,000s, 13 of them specifically. Lowry gets the pole for now. Checker flag waving for everybody else. Homer Heyman has got it in front of Nico Katowski, though, in the qualifying order. Nico Katowski did not out-qualify the 34. So Heyman looking to be on the junior pole here today. Set the fastest time there by half a second. They'll start hard of the field as the rest of the field comes on through.
Here comes the Pegrams, and they will get ahead of Mitchell Lowry. A 41.34 for Riley Pegram. Oh, trouble for Lowry. Spins right there as he comes around and nearly in front of the field.
Yeah, Lowry going to have to work to get the cart off the racetrack there as the rest of the field zips on by. More than halfway through our qualifying sessions, just like that here. So our next group, we switch over to the KA side of things here. KA 100 Master starts things off, and this is the battle of the Kutchers. Chris and Andy are the two drivers to keep an eye on, because so far, Chris and Andy have gone back and forth on the point sheet with 300 points traded back and forth throughout the rounds. Chris, though, yesterday got the advantage with Andy taking his drop round with a 226. That gave Chris Kutcher the points lead by a distance of 40 points coming into today, Taylor. Can Chris beat Andy and hold him off for the championship?
It's going to be an exciting one to keep an eye on, I have to say, because it's basically who is going to win in each of those heat, in the pre-final and final. Whoever pretty much gets that opening jump is what's going to determine who will come out on top in the finals and the championship. But I'm excited to see how this plays out here between the two brothers as they battle it out for the championship.
Remember, if you're interested in Perico, use the code KARTCHASER to get 20% off today at www.perico.energy to be able to get yourself a little pep in your step today. The drivers are fired up with the engines. Just waiting for the word to be able to hit the racetrack with some of the pickup as they go here, with Lowry having to spin. Just got the 1 minute mark here for this session. So, where did things go here today with this class? Where do you see some of the battling going today with Andy and Chris, with what we've seen from them?
Well, I know for a fact that they're going to play nice with each other. They're going to work together to try to make sure it's just a two-horse race amongst them and don't want to get anyone else involved in this and take each other out. So it's going to be a respectful battle going into this fight here today and in qualifying. You know for a fact those two red speeds are going to work together even more so in this qualifying session.
Looks like they've got the clearance to be able to hit the racetrack here and be able to get themselves going for qualifying. So Chris Kutcher starting off with a big buffer over everybody else. Andy right behind, believe, to start things off for this pack. They'll work their way through the rhino liner. They slide their way on through here. Everyone just trying to make sure they warp the tires as fast as possible. Hence why they're trying to slide around like Mario Kart just about on the tires here. But the clock already moving as you would expect with this group. Now we'll see where things stand for the start of the session as you see the Kutchers build their way around the front. Andy trying to get some draft from Chris. We're underway for a KA100 Masters qualifying.
A little bit of separation right there between Chris and Andy right now as they try to work their way around the circuit. They'll probably get themselves bunched up and lined up here for a good push in the draft once we get this show on the road. But for East, Jennings, and Leahy, it's still going to be a good fight for them in the championship also in their representative classes as well. So really curious to see how it will play out amongst them. And hopefully we can see some good action further back in the standings for the KA Masters, because Jennings has a little bit of a cushion, but Neil Hamilton, Greg Leahy, they're also battling it out. Hamilton, of course, not here, which will kind of shake up the point standing as it is, missing 2 races. Also, Paul Meese can move up a couple of spots as well. Well, actually, looking at it now, he will not. But Greg Leahy could move at least up to 4th, maybe into 3rd in the championship, depending on how he goes with the battle with him and Damian Jennings.
Absolutely. Still some chances there, absolutely. So we'll see where things shake up by the end. Keno, by the way, the Makino's here today. At least Ethan is on track. Under 3 minutes to work with. Andy at top. Chris and Andy swap around again. Andy goes to the 45 threes. That's the one thing I've noticed between them here, Taylor, is usually Andy just finds a way in many cases to get that extra 0.2 difference compared to Chris. And it's been that speed that we've seen all season from Andy. That's why he's been so good in a lot of cases here. It's been more consistency with Chris in terms of keeping his equipment together in some of the races.
Absolutely, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out amongst them as here they come across the line. 2 minutes to go left in qualifying. And no changes. Andy Kutcher does improve to a 45.26. Paul Meese moving up to P3. Jennings staying hold in 6 with Leahy dropping back to P8. So it's going to get a little intense here amongst the top 3 as they try to work their way through. But from 3rd all the way back to about 10th, I say that's where the fun and the battling is really going to kick off.
So 90 seconds to work with Meese. Stays down at 4 for now. Should see some close battling for some of the drivers in the mid-pack here today in this class. We'll see if that rings true. Both coaches crossed on by. Will Meese be able to change things up here on speed? Doesn't improve. Ethan Bocchino stays up in front for now as they come on through. The 227 keeps the advantage on the pylon by about half a tenth. Enough time for about 1 more lap, maybe 2 for a majority of this field as they go. Greg Leahy stuck down in 7th, did improve last time by. AJ Roderick, who wasn't here yesterday, is amongst the top 5. Calm and cool and collected has to be the main mindset here today for a lot of these drivers, and we're seeing things stay calm, cool, and collected as you would expect for qualifying.
Absolutely. Really no changes up towards the front of the field right now in qualifying. They're just kind of now they found their rhythm. They're just setting it here and trying to make sure that they keep enough of a gap between themselves and the rest of the field. How about AJ Roderick moving up to P4? Same thing with Greg Leahy moving up a spot. As checkered flag is out, let's see how it looks amongst the drivers. The 295 machine of Nathan Williams and Ryan Estep will be the first ones to complete their qualifying session in KA Masters.
And so Andy holds off Chris for the pole. Time does hold on to be almost 3/10 of the very end. Then Bocchino trying to improve late. AJ Roderick trying to stay in front of Meese. Well, the beginning shuffles. AJ Roderick does get a top 3. He's got the same type of pace as Chris here once the tires are up there. Will AJ Roderick be able to upset the apple cart and be able to break up the Kutchers today? We'll have to see during the races. So everybody has already set their lap times here. It's Andy and Chris, followed by AJ Roderick, Ethan Bocchino, followed by Paul Meese, Damian Jennings, Greg Leahy, Gerard Tracy, then Fogg, Clune, Williams, Ryan Estep, and Corey Curry, a part of the order. So the Masters complete for their part of the sessions, as now it's mini and micro time. The minis and micros ready to hit the racetrack here. So far, minis, Drew Snyder's already secured the championship, didn't take part in it yesterday. See if he takes part today. Doesn't matter regardless here. 3 straight 300-point rounds, though, for Kai Park. He's been able to put on electrifying pace since appearing in these races in the later stages of the campaign. For the micros, meanwhile, it's a little bit closer. Jack Katelski, just under 200 points the difference, exactly difference of 195. There was a drop round last time out for Wyatt Huntsbarger, though, who did not appear in race number 7 of the season. So we'll have to see what happens here today amongst that championship fight as Jack Katelski, depending on the attendance for Wyatt Huntsbarger in the micros, can get himself a championship by the end of the day. Off and away they go. So qualifying getting underway for the minis and the micros here, the youngsters. Looking to have good speed here today, Taylor. It's going to be interesting to see who can keep up with Park.
It really is. Kai Park put on a stellar drive yesterday in the entirety. Min Lewis, Jackson Frank, I felt like if they didn't get held up by a couple of other karts there in other classes, it would have been a more exciting fight for the finish. But we'll see how it all plays out here in qualifying. Maybe they can get a little bit of breathing room here and have some clear track to where they can focus on putting on a good lap and try to take the fight to Kai Park.
Everyone just warmed up their tires, going weeble wobble, weeble wobble. Push time, be able to try and go from here. Sam Hornish amongst the entries, by the way. Griff Heyman is a part of the people here today in the micro class. Looking like we have about 7 who are on the racetrack in total here today. So Jack Katowski, depending on what happens, as long as he makes the start for the pre-final, got himself a championship here today. Brogan Wren is the 8th cart, but he's a ways back of everybody else in the order. First times though, gonna be led by 182 apart. First driver gets himself right in the 49 Fords. He is pushing here.
He really is making a big push up towards the field as he tries to do so. I gotta say, looking at that time, Kai is just absolutely incredible drive. Half a second faster than Min Lewis and Jackson Frank. And then, of course, Katowski, he's doing what he does best.
Yeah, remember the 92 was contending for second overall on the racetrack yesterday in these races. Was not afraid to get the elbows out. Lewis definitely felt that in the pre-final. Lewis amongst those get up on a hornet's nest as some drivers will slow down the straightaway. We have another kart out there that didn't take part yesterday and just now got to the first lap. And Liren Phillips. Liren Phillips is the 8 kart today, making an appearance in the micro class. Good to see another driver make an appearance here on circuit to see if they can gain a bit of experience here.
They're going to try their best to do so as they work their way around Kai Park with 2 minutes to go. Continues to just showcase the speed that he has there as we watch that 142 of Jackson Frank in that Lando Norris kart, trying to find any which way he can find a way to improve upon that time and draw closer in on pole position. And Kai Park, neither one of them improved. None of your top 3 improved that time by.
Nope, everyone plateauing a little bit that time on through. Right now, the field, it's to the point here today. And remember, you mentioned the golf club-like feel when it comes to this racetrack. There's actual leaves on the racetrack. Some of these drivers will have to deal with in some of these sections here today. The fall leaves are falling on the track.
Well, it is that time of the year, you know. It is that time for everyone to get spooky. It's time for the pumpkin spices and all the good things here at this time of the year. Where it's just about right. I mean, yesterday here back home here in Texas, we just had our first bit of a cold front come through. Temperatures in the morning for us are, 40, 50 degrees now in the morning instead of 70, 80 degrees now in the morning. So it's been nice, and it's actually going to get colder as we just had a cold front pass through.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look as we zip around the racetrack. Jack Katowski taking his time here to get around. Phillips just learning. As time goes, you can see how quick the speeds are with the aim machine. Trying to get a feel of the kart still. But Katowski, the entire family, has put up some impressive runs nationally throughout the year. Polish American family. Looks like they'll come up right to the checkered right now. Will Katowski even get an improvement? No. Doesn't move up on overall positions, but does get a bit more buffer over everybody else in class, who ends up 4 seconds back in qualifying in the micro. The mini side. Sees Kai Park holding up on top in session in the 182 kart. See if there's any change to the stripe, but the gap again is about just under 3/10. Jackson Frank and Ming Lewis are amongst your front runners here today. The times did shuffle in live action. The intervals did not change all that much, though, on track. So, we get set for KA 100 Juniors. We have pickup. We'll take a quick break. You're watching Kart Chaser.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Florida Kart Racers, you asked for it and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
And with that, we welcome you back to coverage here of qualifying for the KA 100 Junior category, who's heading out onto the circuit. Championship of KA Junior is looking pretty intriguing as well, as Nico Katowski has a 182-point advantage over Adler Klein. And unfortunately for Katowski, he had to use yesterday's race as his drop race, with not the best finishing results here. So he's got a little bit of work to do. He does have some cushion, but Adler Klein also scored significant points over Katowski in race number 7. So a little bit of work is going to happen here. Let's see how it all plays out as they come around to start their first flying lap, Justin.
Yes, indeed. We'll see where things shake up here today with about 10 drivers on track as we run. We've seen those TKG Barellards work together really well. Again, TKG, it's home ground here at MCC Cincinnati. Don't spin it out. What a bubble and a glide across the curbing. That time, Robert Lash able to hold on to it. Heyman holds on up front. Alex Kutcher gets up to third to start. Albert Klein well down the order, though. In fact, don't think Klein has set a time at all yet. He has not showed up a time in its scoring, although he is now just popping in at fourth. He is about half a track behind everybody else.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of work to do. He's currently right now 0.3 of a second behind your pole sitter of Homer Heyman, which Heyman right now currently sits 5th in the championship. May try to see if he can break into the podium if he has a really good run, as Alex Kutcher and Robert Lash battle for third. Kutcher moving up to P2 in qualifying. Same thing with Lash picking up a couple of spots to third, as Klein draws further and further behind. Let's see if he can improve on his lap. But the problem is, he is all by himself. No help, no draft, but he does have clean racetrack. That could be the only thing that could help him make sure he has a good qualifying effort.
So this entire pack working together in unison up at the front of the field. Katowski not afraid to help out his teammates here to improve their starting positions here. We'll see things shake up. Good closeout As well, though, we're seeing for Alex Kutcher being able to benefit a little bit from this. Oh, some checkups in the pack. Heyman gets 1,000 quicker than Alex Kutcher that time by the stripe. So the 878 is on a roll right behind this pack of 3 to push hard here as they all stay bumper to bumper.
Great run by these 3 drivers you see on screen. Katowski leading the charge as he tries to see what he can do in these final minutes in qualifying. But that 830, the next car behind him, of Heyman, Kutcher, and company, really strong effort. Robert Lash right there in the mix, as well as they come across the line with 1:13. And now they're going to switch it up a little bit. Kutcher to the top of the board in the red speed.
Yeah, Kutcher flying his way to the top of the board, continuously closing up to this grouping here, but we get checked up a little bit. Eventually, he'll hit the back end of these carts and only get so far from that point forward here to be able to progress forward. 40 seconds to work with here in this qualifying session. Outer Klein, for reference, is still down in 6th in this class. He was amongst those in the K100 Juniors. Had to try and fight to get out the struggle bus at times yesterday. Josiah Phillips does get to 4th. Homer Heyman is down in 5th despite being in this gaggle of carts. So our final time on through coming up. Nico Katowski looking to try and find a banner of lap time to gain an extra 1/10 of a second to get the pole here. Will he find it here? Right now, Alex Kutcher has hit a plateau, hasn't been able to fully eat up to the gap of the 3 teammates in front. There we go. Will anybody try and poke out on a drag race? A bit of a bobble in the background for one driver, but it's Homer Heyman who is able to find the speed late. It's the 834 over Nico Katowski. 45-161. Josiah Phillips, Robert Lash, Alex Kutcher falls to 5th in the end here, Taylor, as he finishes ahead of Williamson, Klein, Beck, Tracy, and Gallagher.
Incredible drive right there by both competitors in this qualifying session. Katowski just barely lost that pole position by Heyman. Really looking forward to seeing how these two do it. And Lash, I really got to say, he's got some speed. He just needs to find a little bit of luck on his side to have a shot, a podium, or winning today's event.
One more group to go. It's the Pro-Am side of the card. That's the KA100 seniors specifically when it comes to your scoring screens. Championship already in hand for Will Steele. Yesterday was Ryan Miller and Braden Hebert's drops. So the 938, 978 did not get the runs they needed to be able to try and have a chance for the championship. Will Steele gets the points advantage, more than 300 coming into today. So Steele gets to celebrate a title, Taylor. Second is still up for grabs, though, between Miller and Hebert.
I'm excited to see how it plays out amongst these 3 competitors here in that between Miller, Hebert, and Iannello. Throw in Rush Gary, too. He may have a shot to break into the top 3 as well. Didn't have a good points day yesterday, and due to the fact that he's missed 2 rounds already, might not be able to help him. But, as we saw what happened with Hebert, and along with Ryan Miller, didn't have the best runs yesterday. That could help them work their way up into the running order a little further if they have a little help.
So the Kart's now on the racetrack. Keep an eye on Blade Fountain here today. Yesterday was able to sneak onto the podium. Fountain had a solid effort in his first starts of the season. Logan Muir was the one who picked up the max points day yesterday, though the 937 was the one to beat on the way to his victory, and later the win in the Australian Pursuit race. Wants the KA100s. See who gets it done here today, though. Change of a day. That's all it takes. Logan Upton amongst the drivers on track. Remember, Henry Wheeler is also in this class. It's going to be one to watch for in a pretty large class. This field has a big spread on the racetrack, Taylor. About 3/4 of a track spread, a part of its qualifying order.
The thing is, though, a lot of them are paired up pretty well, so this could be a little interesting of how the grouping lines up amongst them. There you see Heber along with a couple of other drivers working their way through. Andrados setting the first opening lap qualifying time, and now Henry Wheeler to the top once again. So no surprise there with Henry Wheeler going out there to do what he does best around MCC. We'll see if anyone else can maybe try to throw a curveball for some of the competitors, as one driver is stuck out on the track.
Right now, we'll see officially who that is. Believe that maybe Chacon, maybe that sequence. But this time through, Wade Fountain jumps to second. Ryan Crouch jumps on up to the top of the board for now. But a lot of the big hitters are at the very far end of the queue. Looking right now at the 948. Again, scored as Wheeler throughout this weekend. Right now, looking ever the more present, faster. In second spot, 68 1/1000ths off the pole. Edward Wheeler is looking to keep himself on pursuit for the top. He does get shuffled by Adriano's and Thompson, though. Will Steele yet to set lap times. Most importantly, though, Sir Cone is also in the same boat, so your champion is not amongst those circulating on the track with his shoes.
I think he might have been one of the drivers out there stuck on the track as well, so that is not a good start for Will Steele, your championship leader. Ryan Miller moving up a couple of spots. Wheeler taking over the pole position again over Andrados. How about Carter Thompson, though, picking up 8 spots in that qualifying run with a 44.95.
Yes, absolutely. Less than 90 seconds to work with as we take a look. Some of the other drivers as they go. That's Batchoum we're keeping an eye on. Munsto's trying to close up to a lot of two-kart tangos. With the K100s, a lot more draft sensitive to be able to get straight line speed. Henry Wheeler, top of the board, gets himself a bit of a pull forward. He had broken away from his respective pack earlier on in the session. Still pushing hard here.
.45 seconds to go. They should maybe get one more lap by the looks of it in qualifying as we watch Henry Wheeler working his way through the runs. He comes up to the top of the hill.
Now doing a good effort to be able to do something here, anything, to be able to find this top spot. Wheeler looking to control the tempo, try and get himself at least 2, if not 3 total wins out of a potential 4 on the weekend. Coming up, checker flag, no change for Mueller. He was a couple 1,000ths off. Carter Thompson was a couple 10ths off his personal best. See where the times now fall as the flood of the queue comes through. Fountain does not improve. Crouch does not improve. Gardner does not improve. Hebert trying to make a pass on the final time around does not improve. He stays down in 11th. It's been a rough weekend for him. Henry Wheeler does not improve either. And most of the others, again, do not improve. Henry Wheeler, Carter Thompson, Logan Mueller, Ryan Crouch, Blade Fountain. Your top 5. Adriano's, Gardner, Hambrick, Klein, Degenhardt, Haber, Miller, Blatt, Batchoum, Clune, and Upton. Your 16 set times here today. With that in mind, it's time to send to KC Premium. On the other side of this break, we'll have racing action. Be sure to sign up for $9.99 today. be able to watch along with the racing action and for many other events. But it's time to say goodbye for now. We'll see you after the break.
This broadcast is the sole property of Kart Chaser Group, LLC. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the images, audio, or accounts of this event, in whole or in part, without the expressed written consent of Kart Chaser Group, LLC is strictly prohibited. Thanks for watching.